I know you're trying to give Mike Johnson some grace, but even when it comes to this border security bill,
Hmm.
he gutted it as well because his dear leader Trump called him and said, "Oh, this will look too good for Biden." I mean, there are some bad faith actors that are
Well,
worse
I mean,
that are
look,
worse than
Clay,
others.
I'm not. Let me pause you. I'm not going to disagree. I mean, I'm a strategist. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm not going to disagree with Trump's instincts on we're going to pause this because now immigration. I think Gallup has some stuff came out a couple of days ago. It's the number one issue for most Americans. So as a strategist, not talking about policy here because those are two different lenses. Legislative process and electoral politics don't always merge, unfortunately. But I understand that it's very similar
What? Oh,
to
I understand it too. I get the hustle. I get the con. I get it too. I know why. It means he's not for the American people. He wants to do whatever he can do to win. He's in the middle of a trial right now. He has other criminal. Oh, I understand the hustle. I know a con artist
yeah,
when I see one.
But Clay, this isn't. I'm pushing back because I just want to be clear for the audience who don't work in politics. I've been doing this for a long time. This is not unique to just Republicans only. Is the point that I'm making. I have a lot of friends who are Democratic strategists, and we talk about this.
Oh,
If
I
there is
disagree with you,
leverage that
brother.
can be gained,
I
you're
disagree
going to
with you
take that.
completely. No, this is very unique. If
Oh, I don't
President
agree with
Barack
that, Clay.
Obama, it's completely unique, Sir Michael. If President Barack Obama would have called Nancy Pelosi and said, "Don't pass this bill
Mm-hmm.
because it might look too good for the other side and Hillary Clinton's not going to win," that would have been an international story. I have never heard of a former president
But it
who is
has
no
been a
longer in
story, Clay. We
office
covered it on CNN, MSNBC,
who
ABC,
when has
CBS.
Obama
Every outlet
or
covered.
Clinton called the Speaker of the House and said, "Don't pass this
No, no,
bill,"
but
and
you
they're no
said,
longer in
Clay,
office?
but you said under that scenario it would be international coverage. I'm saying every major news outlet covered Trump saying, "Don't pass this because it's
No, no,
not in my
no, no.
interest politically."
Wait, but hold on 1 second. What I'm saying is that you're saying it's happened before, and I'm saying this has not happened
No,
before.
no, 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 no.
This
I'm
is
okay. Let me
Go
add
ahead.
clarity to that. What I'm
Okay,
saying by it happened before, I'm saying in politics, there are a lot of instances that I can go into where politicians will look at various things and say, "Well, is this in my electoral interest to side with them on this? Possibly not. So we're going to
Sure, Michael.
stall
I
it."
think it's a false equivalency, brother, and I think it's a dangerous false
I
equivalency.
don't
And
agree with that,
I'll tell
Clay.
you why. I'll tell you why.
Okay,
Because
okay.
this isn't just about politics and policy and blah blah blah. This is about complete disruption. This is
Mm-hmm.
about a complete threat to our democracy and our citizenship. So to say that Trump just pulled some political move that every other politician does is just categorically not true. We've never heard of a former president calling the Speaker of the House to say, "Don't pass this
So
conservative
in
bill."
that regard,
Be-
you're correct.
well,
I'm not
that's what I'm
debating that.
talking about, brother.
I'm
Sure,
saying,
Michael, that's what I'm talking about.
but Clay, I'm saying
Also
in
with his
general.
history.
I'm saying in
I
general
ain't talking, we ain't in general,
that
brother.
occurs,
Sure,
and to
Michael, we
pretend
not
that
in,
it doesn't occur, that's not
Sure, Michael,
accurate,
we are not
Clay.
in general. Sure, Michael, we are not in
Oh,
general right now.
if
This
you
is not,
only if you only want to make the case about Trump specifically, that's fine. I'm not disagreeing with that, Clay.
that's what I'm
But
talking about.
what I'm saying though is to pretend for the people who are listening to this show, I do this every day for a living. To pretend that this does not occur where politicians don't assess the playing
You,
field,
you,
that's not
that's not
true.
what they're doing. Trump isn't assessing a playing field. Trump is doing whatever he can do to avoid jail time. He doesn't want to go to jail. He thinks if he can become president, that he can avoid jail time, and he's manipulating a bill that you conceded that you like, that Mitch McConnell liked.
Yeah, I didn't
He
have an
doesn't
issue with
care
the
about the
bill.
country. Say it again.
I didn't have an issue with the bill. I
Yeah,
mean, it
yeah, yeah.
wasn't
He doesn't
perfect, but
care
it's
about
good
the
as it
country.
gets.
That this is Trump above politics, above people, and he's a former president calling the Speaker of the House. That is nothing. I can't even go to the 19th century and think of former presidents calling the Speaker of the House and saying, "Hey, don't do this." So what I'm saying is that you may be seeing it from a strategist lens. I'm seeing it from a threat to our democracy and citizenship lens. I don't even think you can say this isn't this. It's not like he's in a room, talking to his advisors. His arrogant ass calls up Mike Johnson and say, "Don't do this. I don't want to give Biden a win." Even when you have folks like they throw out Laken Riley's name out there, all these other folks, this
Hmm.
is not just basic strategy. This is shit
Yeah, well,
that
I see it through a
dictators do.
different. I see it through a different lens. And if I were working, and I even said this on CNN, I see this through two different lenses. Through a policy perspective, I think you got to get what you can get. And I think Lankford's, that's the Republican senator who sponsored the bill out of the Senate. I don't think you can get anything better. So I would have wanted to have gotten something done, increase funding, increase border patrol, increase judges, et cetera, to deal with the problem. I don't think the country can really wait until the end of the year under the guise that Republicans may or may not win the White House. That's one thought process. My other thought process, again, as a strategist, if I'm looking at the playing field and someone said, hey, this is a scenario and these are your list of issues, I would probably say, yeah, this is not good for my guy. I wouldn't want to move forward on this.
Do you think Idi Amin had good strategy? Do you think Mussolini had good strategy?
Clay, we're talking about U.S. politics. I'm not getting into
no, but these are politicians.
Countries.
Do you think Viktor Orban has good strategy?
Clay, I'm talking specifically about immigration in the context of American politics.
Me too.
And there's not a single person out there that I know who actually does this for a living, not talk about it, not write about it, but that's actually paid to do this. Even my Democratic friends, and I have the clips on my page if people want to see it. Like, I'm not lying. This is smart for Trump. It's terrible for the country, but politically, yeah, it's smart. It just is because he understood.
Again, I get the hustle. Again, I get the con. I understand that. He's done things that are quote unquote smart for him because he only cares about himself, because he only cares about not being in jail. He doesn't get an F about the American people or poor white folks or middle class folks. That's been his entire thing. His entire thing has been.
Clay,
that.
I'm not for argument's sake. I'm not getting into the weeds of Trump's personal psychology about what he cares about, whether it's himself or other people. I'm simply saying, as a strategist, which is my expertise, not a sociologist, not a psychologist, I think that immigration, making sure that it maintained to be a top issue politically, was smart for the individual Trump and his electoral odds. Again, as I said, from a policy perspective, as someone who's also worked in a policy realm, I've written policies, researched policy papers, et cetera, I don't think it was good. And obviously you now have a policy paradox where nothing has gotten done on the immigration issue. But again, that's why I said sometimes the politics in terms of policy and electoral politics don't always cross. And that's the point that I'm trying to make here.
No, listen, I understand. I get the point that you're trying to make, but I think for me, when I'm pushing back when you said this is, I don't have the exact language in front of me, but that this has been done before, or like this is in any way, shape, or form normal. I think we have to really narrow in on what's happening right now with Trumpism, with the GOP, is completely not normal.
And so to add clarity on that, I get your point. So to add clarity to your point of saying, well, has this ever happened with a former president? Not that I know of. The point that I was making about this is just how politics works, is that generally speaking, let's take Trump out of this for a minute, just to make my point here. Generally speaking, there are a number of instances where, hell, I've even been involved in policy discussions with the other side when I was really doing this every single day. I was like, you know what? This isn't in our interest. We can't run on this. We're not going to give Republicans a win on this. So we're not going to give. That's the point that I'm trying to make here, Clay. So I agree with you in terms of Trump calling Johnson. That's a first. But I'm simply saying, for people listening to the show, there's a lot of these machinations here that go on in politics of, we're not going to do this.
I think our audience knows that. I totally think our audience knows that. And again, I think this is beyond politics. And I think that what Speaker Mike Johnson should have done and what other folks in the GOP should have done is said, no, Mr. Trump, we're going to pass this bill. This isn't about you. We're going to pass this bill. If they, because Mike Johnson acts like he's some choir boy that really cares about the American people. So he should have said, absolutely not. And I bet you if Obama would have called Nancy Pelosi, which he would have never done that, Nancy would have said, and the answer is no. There's a crisis right now because they're doing fear mongering. They're doing Southern strategy tactics and telling us immigrants are coming in and taking all of our jobs and killing our children. No, this is a crisis. We have to fix this. So Trump is a trash box.
Immigration is a problem.
Exactly.
We may disagree on the interpretation of the extent of that problem.
It is.
And I'll give you that.
It's a problem. So
But it
so
is
so
a
Mike
problem,
Johnson
Clay.
should have said no, Mr. Trump. If he's some Christian who cares about people and God, and he was there because Moses and blah 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 blah, all the BS he said, he should have said Trump is going to be trash. I know that, but the GOP should have said no. This is a good conservative bill.
Clay, this goes back to the point that I was trying to make early on about the politics of this and recognizing the difference between a policy victory and a policy target and win versus an electoral victory and win. An electoral victory and win from Republicans writ large, I think Johnson, and I think even many senators. I mean, Langford was just on Fox News, I think 2 days ago. I just saw this clip, and he was asked by Neil Cavuto. He said, Cavuto said, well, Senator, it was Republicans who tanked your bill because of the former president. And Langford said, yeah, and it sucked because I don't think we'll get any better bill than this anytime soon. And then he went on to say, however, Trump's running for office. And he said, and Republicans want to win, so I get it. Not saying it's morally right, Clay. That's a separate conversation. But to your point of why didn't Johnson say anything? Because Johnson probably wants a Republican in the White House. Just being candid.
No, but wait, hold on one second. Hold on one second. This Johnson and Mitch McConnell and all those demon seeds, they thought it was a good bill. They supported the bill until Trump called them. That's the distinction right there. It's not like they had some policy
I don't know if Johnson
strategy.
is on the record saying it's a good bill. I know McConnell is, but I'm not sure about Johnson.
Well, we can double check that. But there was no record that Johnson wasn't going to support the bill until Trump called them. And see, if they actually cared about, we know Trump don't care, but if they actually cared about the American people, they would have said, hey, we as conservatives, even under a Biden administration, we got a bill through. That's what Nancy Pelosi would do. We as Democrats, even under a Trump administration, we got a bill through. So the only reason why they didn't like it anymore is because under various administrations, you could still, when John Boehner was the speaker under Obama, they got stuff through, and it wasn't like, oh, it's going to hurt us if we get work done. You know what I'm saying? So nobody, from the record that I see, nobody cared. Everybody thought it was a good bill until Trump called them. And that's what it makes it insidious and scary and shows that the GOP has more loyalty to Trump than the GOP.